Ever since Mori Calliope debuted on the 13th of September 2020, even until now, she has struggled again and again with the pressures put on her from her haters, from fans, and from her agency. These pressures were the main focus of Calli's singles in her early career. However, the EP Your Mori has a slightly different and more mature take on those issues than those songs do. Through the progression of storytelling across the 4 songs and 1 bonus song, Your Mori is able to depict Calli's journey into growing into self-respect, honest introspection, and a work-life balance, and in doing so creates her best work yet. On the 4th of April 2021, Mori Calliope released her second EP, Your Mori, as a follow-up not just to her first EP, Deadbeats, but to the numerous singles made in between them. In this video, I'll be analysing all 4 songs in the EP, being The Grim Reaper is a Live Streamer, Red, Ga, and I ji meっ子Bully, as well as the bonus track Empress, included in the physical releases of the album. So now, let's dive into Calliope's sophomore record, Your Mori, and see what made it such a classic. Reaper is a live streamer starts the EP off on a light note, largely focused on restating some of Calli's attitudes towards fame, self-worth, and success, the main themes of the record, while also expanding upon some of her stylistic abilities. The instrumental for every song in this EP was composed by the legendary Teniwawa and mixed by Ao, who made the track for Off With Their Heads. This song's composition takes more of an electro swing direction with elements of hip-hop sprinkled in, partially reminiscent of Fake Type, a J-rap duo who Calli's not only very much inspired by, but Ao is also a part of. The song has such a bouncy, light-hearted beat that allows Calli to both rap jokingly and seriously without feeling out of place in either one of them. There are lots of really nice moments where the instrumental slows down and places emphasis on Calli's voice, and then ramps back up again in the chorus with a huge bombastic arrangement that just makes you want to dance. And Calli's lyrics are, well, they're as amazing as you've come to expect from her. Her incredibly inventive and rapid-fire rhyme schemes frame her humorous and meaningful wordplay, and especially the imagery. The song in particular tries to paint an entire scene of Calli walking through the city streets at night and does so with her fantastic multi-sensed imagery. Calli also raps quite a lot in Japanese, showcasing her remarkable improvement in her linguistic abilities. But we all get that. Calli makes good music, what else is new? What does this song do that no other has done previously? Well, that lies in its execution of ideas and messaging. As I've said earlier, this song serves to restate who Calli is and what she feels about fame, self-worth, and success. And she does this especially with her use of symbolism. The song is themed around her double life, or should I say double lives, beginning the recurring idea of duality on the EP. Calli's life as a VTuber/musician/celebrity is contrasted with her regular life as a normal person, which is allowed to be maintained through the anonymity that VTubing provides. Moreover, the duality of Calli's VTuber persona being both a passion and a job, and as well as this, the duality of Calli being both an entertainer who makes music for her fans and an artist who makes music for herself. And finally, the duality of having a public face that she shows the world and a private one with any number of secrets that she daren't show anyone. All of these are represented through double entendres and symbolism, like the metaphor of Calli being a moon with a bright side and a dark one, or the front and back sides of a falling petal, or simply being both death and something that gives life to her fans. And all of these dualities are resolved in the line, which claims that the moon has no front or back. The supposed duality is a false one, but rather a continuous, multifaceted existence. Not everything is black and white, Calli can be both and neither, which already showcases a more mature perspective on this EP towards the issues brought up in songs like Curse and Night, Ibasho, and Spiral Tones. Furthermore, with double meanings and introspection into why Calli does what she does and what it means to her, this is a perfect introduction to Mori Calliope and her contradictory personality. Sometimes she's comedic, sometimes she's serious, sometimes prideful, sometimes self-deprecatory. In fact, this song is such a good encapsulation of Mori Calliope as both a person and a character that for a good few years this was the signature song that she had to play at every concert, almost replacing R.I.P. as the light-hearted introductory song. But the fact that this song was even able to be the light-hearted introductory song while also teasing a deep and intelligent resolution to some of the more prominent themes in her career thus far is just astonishing. And as you'll soon see, it's also a perfect overture for the rest of the record. Subsequently, Red is where the EP gets a little more serious. The tone shifts to a more manic, desperate grasp for the now fading optimism of the Grim Reaper's a live streamer as Calli is overcome with stubbornness and once again refuses to accept the duality of life. Calli's lyricism here is still to this day some of the most poetic that she's ever been, and also one of the most cryptic. Her imagery is once again the star of the show and has a lot of connections to the previous track. The moon allegory is continued and used alongside the new double metaphor in which the titular red represents both Calli's blood and her music. In this way, her music is literally keeping her alive, and every time she shares it with the world, a little piece of her dies. Like damn, Calli is super edgy in a song and I'm all for it. And the final extended metaphor introduced in the song is that of roses, which represent the ephemeral joys of being in the public spotlight. And these metaphors are all used in tandem in really clever ways, like in the line, "Guard the moon reflected in the crimson song tonight," with rising, of course, in due time becoming rose, or also in the phenomenal opening stanza, "Tonight the moon is rose in a crimson red, but roses gotta wither, so I'll live forever instead. And now I can't get rid of all of these thorns in my head. Bring on the hemorrhaging, I guess I'll live inside your memory." This song's meaning is about Calli being addicted to overworking herself for a multitude of reasons, and being unable to accept that part of working is rest, the yin and yang. She partially blames herself, thinking that she doesn't deserve respite because she's some kind of monster, or in other moments she blames the music industry and feels if she were to take the break that she wants, she'll be forgotten and fail in her endeavours, or simply that she does this to herself because of her own ambition. She has goals that she'd rather die than not achieve, and she doesn't want to leave her career with any regrets. But no matter what the reason is, for so long she's been unable to slow down and relax because of her unwillingness to accept the duality of work and rest. And this message has even further significance when placed after the Grim Reaper's live streamer, because, as you remember, in that song she came to the realization that the dualities which seemingly contradict at first are actually natural and okay. This is reinforced in this song with the rose metaphor, as even the positivity of the rose and its petals are juxtaposed by the harsh backlash represented by the thorns. But despite being clearly comfortable with this duality, she's unable to accept specifically the idea that she must rest. But we're not done yet with the storytelling in this song, because she mentions in the chorus that she feels like she's singing someone else's tune and someone else is sitting on her throne. And all this stress and dissatisfaction and fear boils over until she decides that she's just had enough. She feels that when she's this smothered by fatigue and disappointment, she'll never be happy with herself, and that she may as well just fade away. That's right, Mori Calliope is quitting music, everyone, you heard it here first. But anyway, we'll continue this crazy story in the next song. For now, I'd like to talk about how this story is reflected in the instrumental. The staccato piano chords are what really binds the song together and are such a unique and catchy way to represent the off-kilter, stressful vibe the song is going for. On top of that, distorted laughing sounds, sharp booming drums, clean electric guitars, and bittersweet violins are added, all in the same staccato pattern as the piano, creating some sort of twisted symphony. The instrumental crescendos and decrescendos where necessary, but in general gets more and more intense and layered as the song goes on, and Calli's stress ramps up, before all collapsing at the very end, leaving nothing but Calli's wish for death and a few lost piano notes. This song is just so genuinely beautiful, man. Everything about it is so deliberately impactful in a way that only Calli and only Teniwoa could do. Even on a technical front, this song is innovative from Calli's past work. She gets the chance to flex how much her singing has really improved since Live Again and split the song about 50-50 when it comes to what's sung and what's rapped, which I think is the perfect balance for her. On top of that, this song is some of her fastest rapping in her whole career, which, yeah, doesn't really count for much in my opinion, as fast rap doesn't necessarily make for good rap, but it's at least something to note. Red is classic Mori Calliope and shows off the best that she has to offer. It stood proud as one of her best songs for nearly 4 years now, and I can't see that changing anytime soon. So with that, let's move on to another one of her best songs.
Tonight, lads, we go.
Give it up, give it up. Dead beats, we like it rough. Give it up, give it up. Dead beats, we like it rough.
Starting out as a simple noise that Calli would make whenever she drank something, it started to gain some attention by fans, and with this song would be recontextualized as an acronym for Give Up Haters. That's right, we're going there. Ga is yet another hard rap diss track towards Calli's haters. However, it couldn't possibly take a more different approach than Off Over the Heads did. Because while in Off Over the Heads, Calli is asserting her dominance and defeating her haters with facts and logic, in Ga, she's agreeing with them. To sum up this song, no one will ever hate Calli as much as she hates herself, so you may as well just stop trying. In terms of themes and messaging, the song provides a much needed break for levity and humor, being sandwiched between two very very depressing tracks, and Calli doesn't really hold back when it comes to the silliness. I mean, the opening line is literally "so a yeet skirt to the yacht steez," like, just wow. But despite that, this song still maintains the thematic progression of the previous songs. Calli is still very clearly dissatisfied with herself and her work, however is unable to follow through on the promise of fading away from the last song. And so, with all this pent-up frustration inside of her, she takes it out on herself and all of her haters. And hence begins the Reaper Disathon. But it doesn't end there. Calli doesn't just want to beat her haters to prove their incessant hating on her is pointless, but she wants to encourage them to turn that energy into something more productive. This idea would later be expanded upon in Holy Shitto, but here it's only briefly mentioned that her haters should do as she did and turn their hate into creativity. Kinda like what she's doing with this very song, in fact. So yeah, the meaning of this song is pretty simple, especially compared to Red, but it's used as a vessel for Calli's unresolved emotions told through her brilliant rapping. Her lyricism isn't anything crazy or poetic here, but dives fully into hip-hop conventions and focuses mainly on making the song as catchy and fun to listen to as possible. And it does that in spades, nay, in dump trucks. It has everything. The daisy chains, the internal and end rhymes, the consonants, the alliteration, the wordplay, the imagery, the rapid-fire speed, the erratic yet perfectly balanced flow. Calli is on fire here. I personally believe this to be Calli's best rap song ever. It's just that good. It balances the comedic tone and catchiness with the serious, emotionally charged messaging perfectly, which I think is an extremely clever method of storytelling and often makes for some of Calli's best songs. One detail which showcases Calli's attention to detail when it comes to storytelling is the rhyme scheme. If you remember in my last video where I talked about Off With The Heads, I said that the song stretches rhymes for as long as Calli can possibly stretch them, up to 6, 7 or even 8 bars. This was done to show Calli's control and confidence in the song, whereas by contrast, the rhyme schemes in Gur are constantly changing, rarely lasting more than 2 bars. This creates a chaotic mood in the sense that Calli is barely in control, that she's desperate. Oh, and the instrumental is so good! Easily my favourite of the album, it's so unique. There's this weird synth arpeggio moving from the right ear to the left and a distorted Gur sample repeating every bar, paired with snappy drums, funky bass and 808s, powerful synth leads and a random electronic noises for flavour. It's just so danceable and easy to rap to, so inventive yet faithful to the genre conventions. It's perfect. This song is perfect. That's it. It's one of my favourite Calli songs ever and my personal favourite song off of the EP.
Haze you.
And now we get the final song off of the digital version of Your Mori, that of course beingいじめっ子Bully. This is easily the most conceptual song that Calli's written thus far in her career, playing with perspective, metaphors, and double, if not triple entendres, and I'm gonna try my best to explain the various different meanings it can provide in the most simple way possible. On the most surface level reading of the song, it's about Calli struggling with a toxic relationship which she may or may not have actually experienced in the past. She begins the song by describing this toxic lover very vaguely yet romantically, and the way Calli continually shifts between the two perspectives deliberately confuses the viewer as to whether Calli is the lover or the victim. Now, a second layer deep, and you can interpret this toxic relationship as being an allegory for Calli's relationship to her fans. This expands upon all the hints of codependency from all the previous songs which I mostly glossed over, and can recontextualize the entire EP as being about Calli's struggle to separate her fans' opinions of her with her self-worth. But back to the song in question. It all revolves around the codependence of Calli and her fanbase and how despite all the awful effects on her mental health they provide, she ultimately still needs them for all the inspiration, passion, and, well, literally income that they provide. In this way, Calli's finally accepting this duality which she'd been ignoring for 3 songs now, and explains why Gur just continues Calli's duties as normal as if she didn't just announce her retirement in the song prior. She couldn't admit her codependence then, but after much introspection and growth, she can now. However, for what's supposed to be the final song on the EP for everyone listening digitally, the ending is rather vague. Because after accepting its duality and the need to continue on despite it, the song kinda just ends. Yeah, there's this one line, think twice before you fall and smile while you do, which implies Calli's looking inwards for self-satisfaction instead of outwards, but I mean, that's literally just one line. And I think that this is actually intentional, as the first and last lines of the song are simply haze you. And while, again, this could mean nearly anything, I like to interpret this as meaning Calli's trying to cover the toxic relationship with smoke, and forget about it so that she can go back to her status quo. With this juxtaposition of subtle emotional growth from Calli with regression,いじめっ子Bully displays the continuous struggle she faces and how she isn't finished in her journey. Wow, that's really a great, deep, multi-layered song, and I am very satisfied with my listening experience. But we're not finished yet. Oh, you thought we were finished? The third layer of Ijimeck Bully is a role reversal of the second. Because of the fact it's left ambiguous as to who this lover of decay is, we can also view this entire relationship as being about the deadbeat's relationship with Calli. While admittedly not much changes in this interpretation, and clearly it isn't the primary one, it places blame on Calli for being just as toxic as her fans can be and enabling her own problems. And even more than that, Calli is unintentionally causing the problems for her fans in the process. All the lonely and anxious people who spend hundreds of dollars on her just so that she can attain money, power, and respect. Of course, this is an extremely pessimistic and untrue way to depict Calli's job as a VTuber, but this song clearly shows that she views herself in that way, as shown by lines like,
If you turn away at the end of the day, I will smile and give into this burning and vile original sin. As hell is the realization you're selfish and drawn to be loving yourself and the helpless. I can see to that facade.
And finally, the fourth and final layer, which is also my personal favourite way to interpret the song, is that the relationship isn't actually between anyone. It's not Calli with another person, nor Calli with her fanbase, it's Calli with Calli. Going back to the storyline I've emphasized in all the previous songs, Calli is fighting with herself and her drive to create. As much as she loves making things and working, she does it to such an extent that she causes harm to herself, creating a toxic environment. In a way, this is sort of restating everything that Red talks about, only rather than focusing on the symptoms of her self-neglect, she's focusing on the cause, conveying her growth. And of course, everything I've said about codependency in the previous interpretations of this song apply here too, so I won't repeat it. All in all, the song is a fantastic possible conclusion to all the album's themes, and still leaves room for Calli to grow in the future. Because really, what this album is about is the challenge of Calli simply figuring out how to grow and have a healthy relationship with work, fame, and herself. It doesn't need to show her achieving it, because she hasn't yet, and to imply that all it takes is 4 songs to reach happiness would be remarkably insincere. All that really matters at this early stage is admitting that Calli would never get better without introspection and effort. And that is exactly what Ijimeck Bully is! Oh yeah, and the rest of the song. Honestly, this track is so fun to analyze lyrically that I may have forgotten about everything else. The production is of course amazing. Teniwa could literally kill my family and I'd still respect him. But what Ijimeck Bully actually does do new for Calli is its slow, jazzy sound, which is actually something Calli had never done before. And I just love it. Calli sounds so good on jazz songs, it's just... Also, speaking of her singing, given the fact that she hadn't done any singing lessons at this point in her career, her singing in this song is just astounding. Moreover, the slower tempo and large amounts of stuff Calli has to say in a song leads to it being the longest up to this point. And I honestly wish she did more long songs like this because they really give her the space that she needs to go into detail about her ideas, both lyrically and sonically. So yeah, thus concludes Your Mori. Unless, of course, you got it on CD or vinyl, in which case you get to listen to
Empress, 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 Empress. Wake up, Empress.
Empress is actually a cover of a Teniwa song of the same name, but unlike all of Calli's other covers, which up until now I've ignored, I'm analysing it here for a few reasons. 1, it's included on the CD, so it is a part of the EP. 2, Calli creates her own rap lyrics for the verses, significantly changing the song in both sound and meaning. And 3, it acts as a deliberate epilogue to the story of Your Mori, so much so that I've heard people online say that the EP feels incomplete without it. The song is about Calli learning to take action in having respect and confidence in herself, and working not for anyone else, and not to forget her troubles, but in order to work through them and show who she really is. In this sense, Calli's taking back the throne that she felt she lost in Red by both accepting the duality of work and rest, joy and despair, and intentionally applying an optimistic lens to her life. While I still stand by the fact that this completion of her character arc isn't necessary to the plot of the EP, it is a nice epilogue to the lessons of Ijimeck Bully, stated in a very blunt way. And one of my favourite lines from the song sums up Calli's progression perfectly with meaning, according to ChatGPT, even if it's all a lie, look, you feel your back straightening, don't you? The tiara forged from ashes. This line expertly demonstrates how Calli didn't just suddenly become happy once she realized all she needed to do was think positive, but instead she's consistently making the effort to change her mindset and ever so slowly succeeding as she believes her own lies. And to top it all off, the incredible imagery of a crown made of ashes symbolizes the hope and solace that Calli can only experience because of the pain and growth that she went through on this EP. Truly brilliant storytelling capped off with an amazingly fitting conclusion. The lyrics for Empress are once again fantastic, as you probably figured. The imagery is on point, the metaphors, the wordplay, the singing, and Calli goes crazy with the rhyme schemes, using multiple different 4-syllable rhymes throughout the song. Calli also brings back plenty of the symbols and allegories that she's used throughout the EP for cohesion, focusing on the throne from Red. And something that Calli does for the first time in a song, I think, is use homophones for clever wordplay, in the line,
Empress me, Calli in the mirror straight up not impressing me.
And even Tenny Wawa's lyrics are pretty good in this song, because after all it is still a cover and Calli only changed the lyrics and the verses. You know, something interesting about this song though is that the original song it's covering didn't exist yet. Tenny Wawa didn't actually release Empress until later this year, making Calli's version the original version, technically. So then is Tenny Wawa's Empress a cover of Calli's? Who came up with the song? Was it made for Calli? Or did Tenny Wawa make it first and then Calli covered it? This is all a great mystery and it really keeps me up at night. I haven't slept for 3 years. Anyway, getting back on track. Tenny Wawa's work on this song is just so good I don't really know what to comment on. This song is more jazz focused again and more upbeat to reflect the change in lyrical tone. The instrumental here is very slightly different to the quote-unquote original version, but sonically sounds the most different because of Calli's voice, which in my opinion fits in the mix a lot better. Other than that though, I don't know man, Tenny Wawa the GOAT, let's just leave it at that. And that basically concludes my analysis of Empress. Overall, it's a pretty fun song which, while being one of the simpler songs off of Your Mori, still manages to act as a fitting epilogue to its story.
Wake me up, make me up. Wake me up, make me up. Wake me up.
To this day, Your Mori remains a fan favourite out of Calli's catalogue, and for good reason. This EP took her music to a new level that hadn't really been seen before in Hololive, or from any VTuber for that matter. Calli's experimentation, honesty, and unique style made something with more depth than any song she'd made previously, and told a story that sadly hasn't been told enough in the toxic music industry. Plus, with composition from the great Tenny Wawa, mixing from OWL, and funding from Hololive, they were able to reach new heights of production quality and spectacle. Every song sounds heavenly and polished beyond most of Calli's songs even later on, which is incredible considering the fact that this EP released only 3 months after Off of Their Heads. I mean, even the music videos, I forgot to mention the music videos! Sadly, God didn't get one, but every video is jaw-droppingly beautiful, dynamic, and adds extra meaning onto the song. The Grim Reaper is a live streamer is especially awesome though for its comic book in motion-esque style. But basically, everything about this EP is as good as it can possibly be. And the only complaints I really have about certain songs are things like, oh, I didn't really jive with this line, I thought this was a bit repetitious, or the meaning is a bit too cryptic, all matters of personal taste. And that, combined with unparalleled growth in Calli's artistry, staggering depth that people will continue to analyse for years to come, and an incredibly personal, relevant, and well-told story is why Your Mori is remembered as being one of her best works to date. Truly a masterpiece. The end. The video is now over, but I'd just like to thank everyone for watching this far. I don't expect anyone to finish the video, so if you made it here, I'm really grateful that you want to listen to me ramble. And I'd appreciate it if you left your thoughts about Your Mori in the comments. Oh, and my personal ranking of all the Mori songs so far is this. So with that, I hope to see you in the next video in the series. Bye.